I've been looking forward to doing this deep dive because if you couldn't tell, I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm a Dolphins fan. I wanted the ambiance to be a little different because as a Dolphins fan, you gotta be, you're pessimistic. Your heart's closed off. You don't really carry hope. You don't. You shouldn't. Hey, you're all Fins all the time, all the way. But, guess I'll just put you right here. But, you never get too optimistic. Because the minute you get optimistic, you get let down. Mind you, the Jay Fielder days, where it was like, oh man, we were like 10, 11 wins, just missed the playoffs. First off, how you missed the playoffs with like 10 to 11 wins, I don't know. But, oh man, we're coming on up. Nope. Oh, Wildcat offense, man, watch out. It's sweeping the league. It's not going to be figured out the following season. Well, I'm just saying, optimism, even with when we had Bill Lazor, this offense is going to be amazing with Ryan Tannehill. It didn't work out. I'm just saying, I'm always prepared to be let down. That way, when we do succeed, I will be pleasantly surprised. That is my mentality as a Dolphins fan. So y'all should, I'm just saying, don't get worked up. But we were looking pretty darn good last year, didn't we? 10 freaking wins and missed the playoffs, by the way. But is what it is. Things should be looking up, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the roster. We're gonna take a look at my projected starters for the Dolphins, and then end it with a prediction. What's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Baroshmo. Just in case you did not know so. And we're back again once again. Go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy or at least appreciate the content. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's go ahead, get into the giggity gosh darn thing. Starting with looking at the offense. Offensive coordinators. We got co-offensive coordinators. What? In George Godsey and Eric Stewsville. Let me tell y'all. Like, Eric Stewsville, he loves the running game. He loves it. He's like, a quarterback's best friend. Here's the run game. Maybe like 5 years ago. I'm just saying, I was scared we were gonna draft Najee Harris in the first round. Because I'm telling you, in today's NFL, you got to build the offensive line if you want a running game. I think the Dolphins have gone with the correct approach when it comes to establishing a run game. And I know a lot of Dolphins fans, y'all wanted Najee Harris. You wanted Javonte Williams. I didn't. I knew we had more pressing needs we needed to take care of. So I think the Dolphins have gone about the right way of trying to build the running game. Unfortunately, it's the offensive line is still probably our biggest weakness. Let's be straight up. Let's call a spade a spade. Now, with the offensive line, they're really banking on a lot of second-year players of stepping up. And then relying on a second-rounder this season, a rookie, to step up. Like, the offensive line's stupid young. It might be one of the worst in the league. Probably the best part of the best player on our line currently is Robert Hunt, who will likely be a starter. He's probably going to be playing the right guard role, which I think he is better as a guard anyway. I kind of projected him to be a guard in the NFL coming out of Louisiana. But he did a solid job at right tackle last year. He was probably the best offensive lineman we had. Then we let go. First off, I loved the Ted Karras pickup. And then we decided not to sign him and Matt Skura, who was above average. Below average. Karras was at least average to above average. Skura, he ain't that. So we're probably going to see Solomon Kinley move into left guard. And he was probably the worst player on the offensive line last season. Right up there with Austin Jackson. Who would have thought Austin Jackson, being more of a developmental prospect, struggling in year one at the left tackle position. Hopefully he takes a big leap, but that's really asking a lot. Bringing in Liam Eichenberg, some guys kind of projected him as a guard. I wasn't exactly thrilled with the pick. I thought there were some higher upside guys because with him, he's more a lot of people view his ceiling as Mitchell Schwartz, which is a pretty darn good ceiling, but he's athletically limited, but he's a smart player. He uses his hands well, and he moves very, I don't want to say well, but he will never let himself be put in a position where he could be a liability, if that makes sense. He's a smart player. Good footwork, good smart player. He probably is going to be the right tackle with Hunt moving into right guard. And overall, it's a weak line. Probably our best backup is Jesse Davis. And you know what? He's not a bad backup tackle to have. They have DJ Fluker who could kick to the inside. I think there's some optimism from me with guys like Robert Jones and Larnell Coleman, undrafted free agents we have this year, but actually Coleman we actually drafted in the 7th round. But I don't know. I don't think those guys make the roster. They're probably practice squad. I think Robert Jones has a very high ceiling, especially a guard. It would be really nice to see him come in. Maybe he's developing a lot. He's far along in his progress. And he can unseat Kinley because I don't think Kinley's that good. I wasn't a fan of him when he even got drafted. But Robert Jones, he played right tackle majority of the time there for, Middle Tennessee State. So he's a guy to keep your eye on. Hopefully we keep him. He sticks to the practice squad. But, I guess Michael Dieter is a guy I didn't mention for obvious reason, man. He's just a depth piece at best. So the offensive line, easily the weakest part, which doesn't bode well when we get to our quarterback. Because obviously it doesn't bode well for the running game. You're kind of hoping on these young guys to put in work to develop a lot faster than they probably should, because typically for offensive linemen, especially tackles, it takes them about 3 years till you really find out what type of player they'll be in the NFL. So it's kind of ridiculous to expect them to be good out of the gates. But the run game probably going to struggle a little bit. But with Tua, this is where a lot of the worry probably comes. Now, I think this offense will look very similar to last year. I think they're going to try to rely a bit on the running game. Especially, I think this squad, it's going to be a West Coast offense with a heavy emphasis on the inside zone running game. I think that's why they brought in Malcolm Brown, who that's what his role was in Los Angeles, where he ran a lot of duos, a lot of just downfield running concepts. That's kind of what he was doing. That's how he was utilized. I think they bring him in to do a little bit of the same, while Gaskins is more of maybe your home run threat. But those guys should, I think, see similar snaps. If Gaskins probably going to be the lead back guy, but with Tua, man, I think they're going to try to set up the play action a ton, which should be very beneficial for him. My question is, I hope they don't have him throw the field a lot. I think they're going to set up a lot of screens as well. That's why Waddle comes in as just a beautiful, the dude can stretch the field. He's a great, he's a great separator in general. I often during the draft process would quote this stat that he got the second most yards of separation over the last 2 seasons in college football. He was second in QB rate when targeted in the slot. It was only CeeDee Lamb who was better than him over that time. Waddle's great, but Waddle is great after the catch as well. I think they're going to utilize him a lot in screens, as well as Gaskins. Gaskins would be a good part. Would be good at that as well, but I really think they're going to try to utilize the after catch ability of guys like Waddle, Bowden if he makes the roster. But I don't think they're going to, I think they're going to try to attack the outsides a ton. I don't think they're going to make Tua, because essentially this is his rookie season. He saw a little bit of time last year, but he was eventually benched in favor of Ryan Fitzpatrick once again. But Tua, I don't think they're going to have him throw in the middle of the field a ton. Just because essentially with your rookie quarterbacks and this kind of being his rookie year, since he's going to get the start, first full year as a starter, they have tough time recognizing safety or the linebacker dropping into coverage or coming down into coverage over the middle, and that's where a lot of interceptions happen. So I think they're going to attack the outside a ton. Devontae Parker, kind of perfect for that. And then Will Fuller being a great vertical separator on the outside. So I really think that's how they're going to utilize those guys and make it easy on Tua. I think we're going to see him throwing the ball a lot on the outside. And also, when it comes to Tua, a big thing in his development last year was he wasn't really throwing guys open, so to speak. Because in college football, you guys are getting a way more separation. You know, you get to see them be open. You see the window in general. In this, you got to kind of make your own window. In the NFL, you got to make your own window. You got to throw your guys open. You got to kind of anticipate your guys getting open. In college football, you see it, you throw it. In the NFL, you kind of got to feel it. And I think that was a big struggle of his last season. And I think admittedly so. He actually came forward and said a lot of that. And Brian Flores talked about how they would work on that with Tua during the offseason. So we could be seeing a lot different Tua than we did in his starts last season, but I think they're going to try to really orchestrate the offense to his benefit, which, they would. But I think we're going to see maybe it be a bit more run heavy, a bit more screen heavy, and they're going to incorporate a lot of the play action. My only concern is that offensive line. It's young. It might be one of the worst in the league. Unless you get a big bump in development from guys like Austin Jackson, Solomon Kinley. So that is yet to be seen, but I'm real excited. I'm real excited. And a couple of guys that I had mentioned, Mike Gesicki, obviously a wonderful receiving tight end. They bring in Hunter Long. They draft him in the 3rd round. Kind of makes me feel that they're not going to bring back Mike Gesicki. Some people will be like, oh no, they're going to run some 2 tight end sets. Nah, when you have Jalen Waddle, who's probably one of the best slot options, who was the best slot option in the draft, I don't think we're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. While Hunter Long, yes, he's probably much better blocker than Mike Gesicki, so having him come on the field kind of makes sense. If you're running 2 tight end sets, you want to run the football, but I think it's more so it feels like Mike Gesicki's not going to get re-signed. Also, add in Shaheen's there as more of a depth guy. Durham Smythe actually showed bits and flashes last season, but he's nothing more than a tight end too. Going deeper into the receiving core, I really think Waddle, Fuller, Parker, Williams, they're guaranteed to make the roster. Then if they hold on to maybe 2 more receivers, really, who are those guys? Maybe Bowden, who is probably the only other guy that really can operate out of the slot. Maybe you make a case for Robert Wilson. I mean, Mac Hollins and Allen Hurts, they're more outside guys. Jakeem Grant, I mean, he can return, so maybe he gets another spot. Like, it'll be interesting. I think Malcolm Perry ends up being on the practice squad again. Former rookie out of Navy. But just kind of touching up on some of the other guys. The offense, it makes me feel uneasy at times, but yeah, we'll know more once the season's underway of what type of player we got in Tua and if this offensive line can elevate their game, because I think the defense is fierce. Defense is legit. Now, the defense is being coached by Josh Byers. Under Boyer, excuse me. And with Brian Flores, this team does look very similar to what they do in New England. It's a multi-D front. It runs a lot of man coverage, and they like to blitz. They like to blitz from unconventional places. They're very good when it comes to that. I do think they maybe bring in a guy like drafting Jalen Phillips to bring in some pass rush. I think is very interesting. Maybe they blitz a bit less. That might not necessarily be the case, but I think getting more pass rush from your front 4 is is legit. I don't think it's not like guys on the interior like Raekwon Davis, Christian Wilkins are going to be phenomenal pass rushers. Those guys are mainly good, really good run stuffers. But Emmanuel Agba, man, he really stepped up his game last year. I mean, so much so that they were like, yeah, forget you, Shaq Lawson. Let's get you out of here. A guy that was supposed to come in here and be an outside rusher, and really he was only effective when he was rushing on the interior. So they bring in Jalen Phillips to kind of be the like opposite of him, opposite of Agba. They let go of Kyle Van Noy because, dude, Andrew Van Ginkel, honestly, like stepped up his game a ton. He kind of fills that Kyle Van Noy role there. And then you got Vince Beagle probably be backing Van Ginkel up, who's just kind of like a value brand Van Ginkel at that point. There's a lot of interesting like battles to be had though, because especially when you go to the secondary, man. Because like you gotta think they released Bobby McCain, so Javon Holland, he's gonna be their deep safety. He's gonna be the guy that they hang back there. But you got Eric Rowe, who played pretty darn well in this defense last season, but you got to imagine they want Brandon Jones to kind of overtake him. Like Brandon Jones, he's going to get his. But I bet you they really want him to unseat Eric Rowe. The slot position, that's up for grabs. Really, I mean, they bring in the vet Justin Coleman, who is familiar with Flores, because Coleman did play a year in New England. But they also bring in Jason McCourty, who could play on the outside and on the inside. And then obviously they have Nick Needham, who was their starter for a bulk of the year there in the slot. You could throw Noah Nagani's name out there, but I really think they're going to focus him on being more of an outside player. At least that's what minicamp kind of alluded to. Like he was exclusively doing his workouts on the outside, which kind of is interesting knowing that the contract situation with Xavier Howard is kind of happening. So will Noah Nagani, will he look that way once they get in pads? I don't know. I don't necessarily think that they drafted Noah thinking he would be a replacement for Xavier Howard, because they already given him a big deal. Keep in mind, with Howard, it's like he got paid. He got paid at the time. Now it's like he wants more. He wants to be paid like the best corner in football, which I know a lot of Dolphins fans will be like, oh, he should be. He ain't the best corner in football. He may be top 3, top 5. He ain't the best corner in football, though. Jaheir Alexander, Jalen Ramsey. You can make cases for guys like Marlon Humphrey and Bryce Callahan. But not to say Xavier Howard is bad by any means. He's not. He's a ball hawk. He's physical. I'll say that. He's very physical. Like he's a great player, especially across from Byron Jones. But knowing Big Nagani, when drafted, a lot of people assumed it was like they were getting their slot guy. I really think they got him to play on the outside. That's just my opinion, though. I really think that he's in there to be on the outside. But still, like even if guys like Brandon Jones, Nick Needham don't win their starting positions, I still think they're going to see a significant amount of snaps just because of how good they were used as pass rushers, as blitzers. And I kind of talked about how this team, they like to blitz from unconventional places. They like to bring in extra pressure. And Brandon Jones was very good at that last year. Nick Needham was very good at that last year. So maybe if they go in dime packages, they bring in Needham to come in and blitz. Or Jones. These guys are going to have roles and they're going to see significant time where there's 300 or 400 plus snaps. So I would just kind of expect that as well. I think Benardrick McKinney is interesting. I really think this is a one and done type of situation. I think he gets cut after this season, because I'm just saying some people say he's going to be like the Dante Hightower in this defense. I don't really think that may be the case, because keep in mind they extended Jerome Baker, 3 years, $39 million. Bit pricey considering Baker's really just a coverage linebacker. Doesn't do well against the run, but let's be honest, we're in a passing league. Coverage is valuable. It's just not like it's. I wouldn't say he's like a top 20 coverage linebacker in the league. That's the thing. But he's going to be on the field bulk of the time. I actually think he led the defense last year in snaps. No, he was fourth in snaps on defense last year. But you got to imagine Ginkel, he's going to replace all of Van Noy's snaps, which that was 811 last year. So I don't know, maybe McKinney, he'll probably eat into that because really McKinney's role, I can't see McKinney seeing more than 500 snaps next year, which when I get to my projected starters, when I do projected starters, I go based off of snap counts. I don't care about base defenses. I want to know who's on the field a majority of the time, and McKinney, I don't think he will be. I think guys like Baker and Van Ginkel will see significantly more snaps than McKinney. And then, like I said, I think he gets the axe after this season. It's kind of how his contract works. Let's talk about how I feel about Javon Holland, because this is a guy that was shut down his freshman season playing deep. He was shut down his sophomore season playing in the slot. Then he opts out. He came in, tested more athletically than a lot of people anticipated. There are concerns with his physicality, how he plays the run game, which who cares about that? If you're playing deep, he's going to be playing deep. That's going to be his role in this defense. Overall, there are some questions, but it'll be interesting. And then, Trill Williams, dude. How did we end up getting Trill Williams? Answer me that way. He might make the practice squad. He might make the roster. He's definitely making the practice squad because this is a guy with a ton of ability, a big playability. I'm surprised that they don't try to play him on the outside, though. They could. I mean, playing him as safety actually might be a stupid smart option as well. But, I mean, you kind of like a guy with that type of versatility. I don't think he plays in the slot in the NFL. I just never felt that way about him there at Syracuse. And he actually played the slot a majority of the time there at Syracuse. But, yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. I think Jalen Phillips, honestly, is going to have a huge role. And it came from the horse's mouth. Brian Flores was like, Phillips, expect him to have a huge role. And then Agba, if he could just repeat the production from last season, then watch out. Van Ginkel was very good last season in limited snaps. He had 19 pressures and 6 sacks on a little over 200 pass rushing snaps. So he was getting significant pressure, man. He was getting good pressure considering his role. And the dude did drop back and was very successful in coverage when asked to be. Now he's just got to do it almost triple that next season if he does take on the Kyle Van Noy role. So let's just go ahead and get to my starters then. So looking at Miami, looking at the offense, Tua being our starter. He is our franchise quarterback, and hopefully that's the case after this season. Myles Gaskin, I think we'll see a bulk of the load there in Miami's backfield. Keep in mind, Malcolm Brown, he always starts the year off pretty hot, and then he just kind of slows down. So I don't think he's going to be our running back with the most snaps. Then I got Will Fuller, Devontae Parker being our guys on the outside, Jalen Waddle being our slot, Mike Gesicki being the tight end, Austin Jackson at left tackle, Solomon Kindley at left guard, Matt Skura at center. Very disappointed about Skura. Don't know why we didn't bring back Harris. Right guard, Robert Hunt, and then right tackle, Liam Eichenberg. And then looking at the defense, Jalen Phillips, Emmanuel Ogbah being our starters on in terms of edge rush, then Christian Wilkins, and then Raekwon Davis there on the interior. I didn't mention Adam Butler, but I think another guy that Flores is familiar with. He'll have a significant role as a rotation player. And then I put Andrew Van Ginkel and Jerome Baker. I think those guys outsnap McKinney. Just saying. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Justin Coleman, I think wins the slot job. Just a guy that's done it at a very high level. At Detroit, was very successful at it until last year. Javon Holland, and then Eric Rowe there at safeties. It'll be interesting to see how Brandon Jones kind of eats into the snaps. He'll probably be that third guy at safety. But I want to know, will he eclipse 400 snaps this year? He was just shy of it last season. So, prediction. How do I predict my Dolphins will do? Well, I got them at 10-7. And I think that's a little high. Personally, I think that's a little high. Because I'm very unsure about the offense. I just am. With the reason to be, I don't think the offensive line, it's one of the worst in the league just because it's very unproven. It's very inexperienced. You could say the same thing about Tua. So, honestly, question marks at 2 of the 3 biggest positions on the offense. Quarterback and O-line. But, hey, we got good playmakers. I got us going a healthy 3-3 in the division. I can see this team maybe getting like 7 or 8 wins. I know Dolphins fans like, we won 10 games last year. We should be way better this year. I don't think the team significantly improved from last season. I don't know what would lead you to believe that. It's like, well, the offensive line's more experienced. Yeah, I'll see it when I believe it. Okay, more experience doesn't necessarily mean better production. Let's see it first. Tua, I don't know what he's instilled in you to think that he will come out and look better this year. I'm being pessimistic about it, but I'm hopeful at the same time. The playmakers, yes, they're better. The defense, they're relying on some guys to step up in terms of Van Ginkel to take on that Kyle Van Noy role. Hopefully things go good with X. But yeah, like it'll be interesting. It'll be a fascinating ride. But I got us 10-7, and that's actually not good enough to make the playoffs in the AFC this time around. So much like I ranted at the beginning of the year, how you gonna win 10 games and miss the playoffs? Well, we're gonna do it 2 years in a row. At least that's where I predict it'll happen. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.